big fish, but 1.5 spawned out,
Oh my god. Oh my god. Got the freaking toad. Got the giant. That fish was enormous. Come here. Yes, sir. Holy smokes.
Cold coffee, my old boots are by the door. Nobody's calling, but I don't mind it anymore. 'Cause I've had enough of the rat race, the city life, the social grace. Burnt out on
What's up? What's up, Jake?
Nothing. It seems like we're becoming night podcasters or live showers.
Dude, during the season, here, let me move this here. During the season, it does seem like a lot of our guests, and it just works out better for the evening. But yeah, it's a little bit rougher on the kids and the bedtime and all that good stuff. But hey, next week we probably won't do one because we'll be over at Dale Hollow with Bassmaster. So get a little break there, and then we'll be back at it right after that.
Hopefully catching smallmouth.
Hopefully.
We'll
Definitely
see.
the game plan for me. Definitely try to target the most fun fish to catch. Definitely. So I'm excited, man. But I'm excited about tonight's show. Excited about just talking to our guests about pumping up and getting, we're getting close. South Boston Bassathon is almost here. And I am ready to just get there, and warmer weather. It's a little bit, cold where I'm up here in Northeast Ohio, and see what these anglers can pull out of this area. This is a very unknown sort of, Bugs Island and Kerr is, and we'll get into it in the show, but I'm just excited to see how this one's going to shake out because I really don't know. I've got some guesses, but we'll talk to our guests about it. And anyway, but I'm excited about Dale Hollow and just getting out there and fishing myself. So it's going to be a fun next couple of weeks for sure. We're going to be busy.
Yeah.
And that highlight reel. So everyone knows you guys were watching the highlight reel from Paris. I'm excited about how much better our anglers are getting at filming themselves and then submitting the footage to us so we can promote them and their great content and sponsors or whatever, if they have sponsors. It's really coming together. Like my vision for this whole thing, maybe people think I thought it was crazy, but it's actually starting to, like, people are starting to see what it can be, the concept and all of it with the theaters, and the footage is so easy to get to us and for us to compile, and we kind of cover ourselves, or you guys cover yourselves as anglers. It's actually starting to really take shape and take form. And I think this next tournament's going to be a big step in that. So anyway, but dude, some sombering news and some prayers out. Did you see the accident today on
Yeah,
Major League Fishing?
seems like there was two different ones, which is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't really get any details about the one on Lake Norman, but do you know anything about that one?
I don't. I just saw like
What's for MPFL? Let's check their. I guess we could check their Instagram. Anyone in the comments, you guys? What's up, everybody? See people tuning in. I don't know if anyone knows anything about the MPFL accident, but apparently there was one there. So I don't know if anyone.
I don't think anybody
fatalities.
I think the Norman one was just an accident. They didn't have any deaths, but I don't know that.
Yeah, right. Well, I know this, man. Bass boats are, they are very dangerous, and 250 horsepower can move quick. And with fog, which is what I hear happened on Lewis Smith Lake. But the other thing it's funny is I've always told people, man, to combat live scope, all you got to do is go back to allowing the things that we disallowed, because for whatever reason, I don't really know why it's disallowed. A tunnel hole, a smaller boat with 100. Why would it not matter if someone wants to go slower with 100 horsepower, 150? Because they get a small boat and it gets them into some tighter little places, like a Keith Pochet style boat, but like even smaller, but there's limits. They don't let them go under certain things. And it's like, what's, a little standing platform,
bigger, better,
like
faster.
Yeah, I know. I mean, to me, it's definitely dangerous, but prayers out to the family. That is a rough situation. And, I saw the bass boat was being pulled away, and it looks like it was Flint Davis's boat, who is a guy down the Flint River in Georgia. I mean, his name's Flint, and that's unfortunate because there's no telling what he's feeling right now. I mean, if it's, you know what I mean? Like if a couple of fatalities, I'm hearing maybe even 3. So prayers up for the families who lost their loved ones. And then obviously, even, with him, because it's obviously not intentional, but it sounds like he probably wasn't. I'm not going to make any speculation, but it sounds like, he was going a little too fast probably for the fog is what the reports are. I can't comment any more than that. So Tyler saying no deaths at Norman. Yeah, that's good to hear. But anyway, that's why we do have to err on the side of caution as tournament directors when there are conditions, you know what I mean, that are too dangerous. I know some people just want to always go in kayaks and in boats, but we got to think about them too on the lakes. We can't send you guys out there in certain situations, even though we're not the ones with the motors. But
yeah, I mean, fishing is something, man. Like I have like fever dreams of my truck going into the river. I don't know. I've probably told Drew about this, like, because I back up, I launch my boat the wet way. And when I went fishing on Monday, I don't know if you knew this, Drew. Right as we got there, someone's SUV, as they were backing their kayak down, went into the river. And so the rescue cars showed up, and there was like, they were all like on their walkie-talkies and stuff. And we actually like went by, and like I saw the car. We found the car. It like popped up, and you could like see her kayak in there. It was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that's nuts, man. Well, dude, that is, I mean, I've actually, did I tell you the story that does remind me? I'm not going to get into it now.
You have. That's why it's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, exactly. I did.
Because I asked her, I was like, well, was it running? And she was like, yeah, it was running.
Well, we had that happen at the Wisconsin event. Oh yeah, look at that.
That's the that's the cops coming down to like.
Yeah. Man, that's a long, steep ramp. But yeah, I had submerged an SUV in college. I did submerge one completely. So, man, that's crazy. And it sank in the bottom of a pond. We got it out and it worked again, but it literally went all the way to the bottom of a pond and sank. It's a
There
long,
it is right
long
there. See?
story. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, right there.
So
Jeez,
it floated all the way down there. Like
that's
I've
crazy.
launched and I'm 6 minutes away, like down the river.
And there it is. That's nuts.
So
But anyway, let's get to it. The weird, wild stuff in the fishing world. Let's get back to I guess promoting and hyping up. I'm excited about the South Boston Bassathon. So let's bring in some guests. And while I'm doing that, Jake, if you can make a banner ad, a ticker at the bottom, KAS 15. Well, maybe we shouldn't do it yet. It may not be up and running, but that will be the code we're going to have for a new sponsor from Pradco Lure Brand is come on board to sponsor KAS. And you're part of that as well, Jake. So all of us here, myself, you, KAS, for all the Pradco brands are all purchased at lurenet.com. And they're going to give us a 15% off code, KAS15, for you guys all out there. If you want to, if you're one of those who loves to save a little money and use the codes, it's not something that's like a big part of our deal, but they, certainly if we want us to get it out there to you guys. So we'll put that up whenever we can, KAS15 at lurenet.com. And if it's not working out, it'll be working soon. But we appreciate those guys. That's a bunch of brands. Mainly the ones I'm excited about to use is the Booyah, the spinner baits, the War Eagle spinner baits, and the head and stuff like the spooks and the spinning image, the new spinning image, stuff like that. Your classic baits.
they have a new head, one knock spook, which is really good. Like
I'm excited.
I got a couple of those to try.
So we'll keep that going on down there, and we'll bring in our guests. We'll talk. Let's talk about the South Boston Bassathon. It's getting close enough to start getting some local intel and what's going on. So let's bring in Eric from CKA, the Carolina Kayak Anglers, and also Mitch from CCKF. And how are you guys doing tonight? We'll start with Eric. How's it going, buddy?
Not bad. How's it going?
Going good, man. Going good. Ready. We are excited to hear what you guys have to tell us today. You're the star of the show tonight, both of you guys, about the local, fishing in the area. What's going on? Mitch, how are you doing, man? Doing good?
Doing great. Glad to see you guys.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. And we're glad to see you guys and have you on. Appreciate the time you guys are taking out to be a part of this. Now, real quickly, Mitch, where is your club where's the base for your club typically?
Raleigh, Durham area of North Carolina.
Oh, great area. Such good water in that area. So you're very close. And then Eric, where you guys, do you kind of cover mostly the whole state, right?
Generally, we try to focus more on the central part, like Greensboro, down through the Yadkin chain, but then we'll venture east and west as well. So,
and that may be a little bit because you guys have had a lot of clubs sort of pop up. There's probably 9 or 10 in the Virginia and North Carolina, just between those two states. And so I guess you don't need to venture off as far, because North Carolina is a big state. I used to live there, so I know pretty far. So sticking to your kind of area makes a lot of sense. But you guys do have a big event every year called the Battle on the Border. And that happens, against Virginia, and some bragging rights on the line at the, Bugs Island Kerr Reservoir there, which is in bounds for our event right there, which, the biggest 50,000 acre lake that's right there, near South Boston. So I guess talk to us a little bit about that event and how that's going to kind of play into this event. I don't really know. It's not really, I talked to Hank a good bit. It's not like is it happening or not really happening as a part of this event? I can't really remember what you guys decided, but
it's not going to happen as part of the event, but we are, still working together. We work together with all 8 or 9 clubs, and we get together every year, usually in the fall, and do a big old, battle for the bragging rights, like you said. So, it's a fun event. It's great to get all these tournament directors together. We have a good time. All the anglers come, and we have a real big group of people from all over North Carolina, all over Virginia, from north, south. I mean, everything. So it's been a great experience. This is going to be the 7th event, I believe, this year. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully going to make it a little bit bigger. We made it a little new part to it this year. We're going to go a 2-day event. So the first day is going to be the normal 5 fish limit, like we've done for the last 6 years. And then day 2 is going to be an hourly big bass event. So you can fish one, both, either, it doesn't matter. And, so we're looking forward to that. We get a lot of support from the local tourism bureau. So, it's they kick it in a little bit more if we're going to hang there another day. So it's, it's cool. It's a fun event. It's awesome because it's no pressure for, all of us tournament directors, we're under pressure all year. And this one we kind of can let go and have a good time. So
nice, kind of laid back. That's awesome.
yeah.
Only heard good things about the area, that fishery. Bigger the ocean, the bigger the fish. Typically, that's kind of holds true a lot of times, but not always. And that's why we've got some other lakes in play, and sometimes it can work the opposite. Really, to be honest with you. So we've got these other lakes and we've got other waters in play. We're going to get into the format because a lot of you guys and the anglers, from the Virginia clubs, from the Carolina clubs, may not know a little fully about our format, because those videos where Jake and I talk about the format for the Kayak Adventure Series are a little bit back there in our YouTube channel, and they're obviously in our rules, which every angler, of course, is going to read and know. Well, you're responsible for them. So whether you read them or not, it's kind of up to you, but you are responsible for them. So we're going to cover that a little bit tonight as well. So I think one of the things we could start with is, I guess should we start with the lakes and the waters and bounds? Is that kind of a fun thing to start with, I guess? And then we can kind of get into more of the format. So I'll share my screen and we'll bring that in. Mitch, did I ask you? Yeah, I asked you where your club was based out of. Yeah, we did. We covered both you guys in that question. Yeah. So I'll bring this in right here. Okay, which, by the way, this is if you click on, for fans or whatever, there's a place to get to our KAS YouTube. And if you want to see all of our live streams, go back and see it all. It's there. Or you can click on our YouTube channel. The highlight reels will get posted here. But if you go to events, you can click on South Boston, Virginia. Click over here on or scroll down. You can see probably not a bad idea to talk a little bit about some of this, like these important dates and schedule real quick. We did it on our preview show, which wasn't too long ago, but you can click on this link to watch that show right here. That's a good one for you guys to go watch, the official preview show for this event. But, I don't think we're up to 50 anglers yet. So the first 50 to register do get the $100 Kayak Adventure Series sponsors gift bag. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. And I think Pradco, who we just talked about, is going to have some baits for us to kick into that bag. So that's going to be a good one to be a part of and get. But Friday, which is coming up in 2 days, is when our 2-week practice window begins. And so anybody who's fishing the event, whether you're registered or not, doesn't matter. But you can only spend 4 days on eligible water. But you get to choose which 4. And the cool part about that is, let's say someone lives, like you guys, for example, you live, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours away, as just a guy who has I'm sure full-time jobs and works, Monday through Friday. It's easy for you guys to get 4 days on the water without burning vacation. So starting this Friday, 2 days from now, you could go drive there and spend a weekend there, Saturday, Sunday, go back to work the next week, you know what I mean? Then go back again the next Friday, fish again, Saturday, Sunday. And that's 4 days right there. And then show up for tournament registration, opening ceremonies, check-in, and all that late registration, check-in on that Thursday. Which is it's not mandatory, but it's, you get your gift bag there. You may not get your gift bag if you don't make it. We're at the brewery. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's always one of the funnest parts of the Kayak Adventure Series, which is very fellowship oriented for sure. So it's a good time. And we are going to have a welcome dinner on Wednesday, the 30th. You guys chime in. I can't see you guys. I'm just looking at my screen as I'm scrolling through this. You guys chime in, and if you have any questions. Welcome dinner on that for Wednesday, April 30th. Whoever's in town already, you're welcome to come join us at the Viejo Mexican Grill is what it's called. The link right there, you can click on it. It takes you right to it in town. Thursday, like I said, that's when the pre-fishing ends at 5 p.m. Opening ceremonies are going to be 6:30 to 8 at the Factory Street Brewing Company. It's going to be a good time. Registration ends at 8. And then the next day we'll have the Bass U Brunch. And still working on who exactly. I'll probably do a seminar at that one, and then might have one more speaker as well. And that's at the Prizery, the theater. And then actually we may have changed that. I need to double check, but this website will get changed if that gets updated. That might be back at I think we did change that. It might be back at the brewery. So we might need to fix that on the website. But here's where it gets fun, guys. So think about it. Thursday, you got these opening ceremonies. We're at a brewery. We can hang out, have fun, and fellowship as long as you and as late as you want, because no pre-fishing is allowed on Friday. The pre-fishing ended at 5 on Thursday. So you don't have to be up again and somewhere until 10 a.m. on Friday. Now you can still drive around. You can rig up that day, drive around, check out access points, look at water, all that good stuff, but you just can't be on the water. So it really frees up people to not feel stressed. Like you've got to, you know what I mean? Like you got to like check in as fast as you can and leave and go rig because you got to get up at 4 a.m. to drive to get to your launch. Does that make sense? So it's really great. And then Friday we have that brunch, which is optional. And then you also, which we'll put a registration link for that brunch there here soon as well. Guys can get signed up for it. It's like an optional $30 donation for the speakers we bring in and the food and all that. But we'll see. It might be less, but you can change the amount to whatever you want. $5, $1, $100 if you really appreciate what we're trying to do with that Bass U brunch and teach some really good info on bass fishing. So but that's cool because then it's just like it allows you just to stay out later on Thursday and hang out, and then knowing you don't have to be somewhere till Friday. Then your launch, your half day session is on Friday. So the tournament's a half day Friday afternoon, if you will, evening, and then all day Saturday till 3. So if you think about it, guys, not many tournaments, if any, really out there have an afternoon evening bite. You know what I mean? And a weekday. So that's going to be, the anglers love that session because it helps them kind of get their feet wet. If they make a mistake, they can correct it really easily on Saturday. You know, if they go to a spot they thought was going to be good on Friday, turns out it's not. No one's out of it by any means because it's 5 fish total between the 2 days, total 5 fish. So this really helps those intermediate and beginner anglers learn from a mistake on Friday if they make a mistake. Other anglers might choose to use that as another practice day in the sense that if you catch them, it counts, right? They're all going to count. So you can go explore somewhere new, knowing you got a full day. Your A spot may be ready on Saturday. So, and because it's a weekday, you may not have as many locals on the water too. So less pressure. And most people, it's easier to take off Friday for work. You know what I mean? Than a Monday. And if you have tournaments on Saturday, Sunday, and the woods are late on Sunday, people that drive from far away, they're not getting back for work on Monday, and that's the busier work day of the week anyway. So it's a really cool format. People are loving it, and a lot of anglers some of them don't even make it to Friday, and they know it's just 5 fish all on Saturday. They can't make it, doesn't matter, because they can catch 5 on just alone on Saturday and still win the whole thing, and that's happened.
And you can't sandbag to answer that question. No, you have to submit your fish. You
do have to submit on Friday. That's right. It gives us a storyline to know who to follow with our cameras, and kind of keep an eye on, to try to get some good content. Launches at 6 a.m. and lines in at 6 a.m. If we change that, we'll let you know. That's the way we're leaning now. But that's kind of basically like it's safe light at that point. So no one has to worry about, having the proper lights and all that stuff going on their kayak. Lines out at 3 p.m. and fish photo deadlines at 4:15. But by the way, the fish photo deadline on that afternoon sesh, lines in was 3, lines out at 7, photo deadline's not till 8:30. So the whole event is just a low stress, easy, you know what I mean? Like you got plenty of time to get back, get in a good cell signal and get your fish figured out. No need to rush and stress, right? And then we have a closing ceremony festival at the downtown square at starting at 3:30 to 5:30, and that's where you guys will all return to at all various times. And then 6 p.m. we start the awards at the Prizery Theater. And if I click on this link here, you'll see like kind of what the Prizery Theater looks like. This right there, and this is the Constitution Square. We'll have our little festival, hang out, get together, and you guys can all park right here. But anyway, that's kind of the tournament, guys, where we're going to be. It's all happened right here in one little spot. There's Factory Street Brewing Company right across the street. So every day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we got stuff going on right here in this town. I'm pretty sure that Mexican place is just down here. That place we were going to go for. I could have swore it was somewhere down here, but it's right there. I think there it is. There it is. There's Mexican restaurant for Wednesday. So it's all right here. And now I think we need to get into some of the water, right? So on the website, I'll go back and show you guys. If you scroll down, whoops, that's the wrong one. The eligible water is right here. And I will try to make this big. I don't know where that little thing is to make it big. I might have to go to a different tab and figure it out. Is this it? No, that's just share. Didn't they used to have a little thing that just brings it all big? I don't know. I guess not. But while I'm looking that up and getting that on the screen, tell us a little bit about if you guys know anything about, let's just pick one of the rivers or lakes that's in bounds. How about you guys are Carolina? So have you guys done anything on these Mayo and Hyco lakes? You've done tournaments there, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And Mitch did that on Hyco, right?
So, yeah, our first tournament this year in March was on Hyco.
Nice.
And
how was that?
it was turned out pretty good. The first, as a tournament director, you want everybody to have fun. You want people to catch fish and keep it interesting. So Hyco was the very first lake that our club ever fished where every angler that showed up at least caught a fish. There were no skunks. So there's a lot of fish in Hyco. You're going to catch a lot of small ones. The trick is to find the big ones. In March, Brian Soikas, who fishes CKA, CCKF, fishes several trails, he won with 89 3/4 inches.
Yeah, so there's some good ones in there, sounds like.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, some 22s and stuff come out of there. So there's some decent fish in there if you get into them.
Yeah, that was Hyco, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, and did we ever? I'm trying to figure out if we ever got clarification if this part here was. I know there was a drawdown or something was going on. If this other part, yeah, they said there was a drawdown or something was happening. This is the other one that's called what's it? After Bay Reservoir.
After Bay, yeah. I'm not quite sure of the status of that right now. I don't know if they've filled it back up, if they completed the work on the dam or not.
Well, closer to that event when we put out our videos, we'll definitely let you guys be aware if that's inbounds or not. But was that inbounds for your event or was it just the other part?
Just the lower part. So we were a single ramp event launching from the Lake Hyco campground.
Oh, wow. Okay, that changes things, man. Because think about it, guys. 89 inches from a single ramp. So you really could, it takes a little while to get to some of the parts of the lake, and maybe that affects some of the, obviously the choices. So there's not many ramps on the lake or access points, I'm sure, but because we've done the preview video, I remember there's not much. But, with a day and a half, if someone can get 89 and from a single ramp event, you give them an extra half day. I mean, that ends up being 95 real quick, you know what I mean? Or 94, 93, So that would be, I think, a good winning score for this event. We can get into our predictions later, but I mean, it's obviously every event, no matter where we go, people are going to get, pretty good limits. We don't go to places and areas that just don't have any, big fish. We're going to, this is the kayak adventure series, but it's still fun for me. Honestly, I still think it's fun to fish like a Sabine River or something like that, where it's just a dink fest, because it is like the Masters. I see your shirt there. You got the challenge is just, I love those events. It's like tall, rough, and everyone's got to face the same challenge, in the Masters or the U.S. Open, the British Open, whatever. So I think it's definitely going to be an interesting event, and I think that bigger fish could be caught out of this given the day and a half than even the 89. Plus, you're going to have, hopefully, we're going to have just obviously a bigger field. You might draw some other big names or talent. Who knows that they'll come in. So I think 95 from that lake is easily doable with our format for sure. So
yeah, especially in May, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mayo is actually just to the east of that. Mayo doesn't get as much pressure as Hyco. There's a lot of private property around Hyco. It's a vacation spot, redneck Riviera type vacation spot. Mayo doesn't get as much pressure, and I've seen some really large bags come out of bass boat tournaments out of Mayo.
Yeah. Yeah, Mayo's a nice lake. It's a little different.
Yeah. So that's going to be a potential player for sure.
Yeah, there's some nice fish in there, and I like that lake because the fish, they fight bigger than their size. Every fish I've caught is 2 inches smaller than I thought it was. They're strong for some reason in that lake. They're healthy.
Well, let's face it, man. That's like every angler, whatever we're fighting it in, we think it's like it's bigger than it is. But you're saying this is even. So this is like taking that to another even level. They fight even harder. So
yeah,
maybe instead of 1 inches, it's 2 or 3. Well, that's interesting. Now, have you guys seen any Alabama spotted bass in any of those lakes yet, or is it just largemouth?
Hyco has some spotted bass.
Some creeping in. Yeah, we've got a pretty good relationship with one of the North Carolina biologists.
Mm-hmm.
He'll come on some live streams and is trying to help us stop the spread of the spotted bass as much as possible. And they have reported them at Hyco. I haven't heard any at Mayo yet.
No.
Car Lake, I think, definitely has them.
Right. Do you guys know if they're technically Alabama bass or spotted bass? That's a question.
So Alabama is creeping in. They've done the DNA testing on them. Yep, they go up and shock the lake, do some DNA testing, and they definitely have Alabama bass in Hyco.
Yeah, because it's not native range to spotted bass, really. So, and people may not know the difference, whatever. So, I wish it didn't happen. Let's face it; they're not supposed to be where they're not naturally found. So that sucks that someone put them in there. But if someone did, I'm crossing my fingers that it's at least, Alabama bass and not spotted bass. I don't really know which one's worse, quite frankly. But at least Alabama bass do get bigger. But then again, the downside is they also hybridize with. But they don't.
I'm sure they're Alabama. I can't imagine Kentucky's are way over there.
Well, here's the thing, though. People move them because they don't know. Whoever's moving these fish, they don't know which.
Very hard to tell the difference.
Yeah, they don't know the difference. And the entities like Bassmaster, Major League Fishing, everyone still calls this. Everyone just says generically spotted bass.
Yeah.
So when people hear that spotted bass grow to big sizes, they just go and find some fish that look like that in their local area and move them, and then they actually could be moving the wrong ones, which is even worse in some ways. And anyway, it's a mess. But they're actually found.
As the biologist explained to us, when you first introduce them, they grow quickly.
Yeah.
And so bag sizes will go up initially, and then 4 to 5 years in, they've now started taking all the food away from the largemouth.
Yep.
The largemouth population is decreasing
down, and
bag sizes, when these lakes, 5 years in, you'll see bag sizes drop 2, 3, 4 pounds, in a winning bag. So
100%, man. They eat up all the really good open water feeders. If you guys aren't, like anyone watching isn't aware, they're very good at open water. So better than largemouth. So
they're like ocean fish. It's so weird
that they can live
how
like
they
that.
Adapt to that.
Yeah. So they're taking advantage of a prey that the largemouth aren't as good at catching and eating. You know what I mean? So they do get big and they grow fast, like you're saying. Then, of course, it all levels out after that resource that, is all kind of exhausted out there. Those predatory bait fish, which are so plentiful because they weren't in there before, right? And then I was talking to Alex Rudd, and he's going to have Dr. Salmons on his show again. And we're hearing reports. He was telling me, I think it's this Friday, he might even have Dr. Salmons on. He said that they're already up into Virginia. They're over there already, like across the border where the who was that? Bassmaster was just in the Albemarle Sound, I guess is what that was.
Right there in that Edenton, where you show Edenton, that was the base of that tournament.
Right. Or Elizabeth City, I think. Yeah, but that is where they're already being shocked up there, and they're even shocking them into the brackish saltwater where largemouth aren't being found. And flounder and everything else is getting shocked up with Alabama's. So they're able to sustain, I guess, the salt a little bit better.
That's wild, honestly.
It is wild because
I think I saw a picture of them holding a flounder in Alabama. I think I saw that.
Yeah. You see this right here? They're going to connect because they don't got to go through the like out to the actual salt. This is probably still brackish here. They're going to connect right up here.
Are
make it
Alabama bass
into-
like the roaches of the black bass world?
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
maybe. And they're going to get up. This is the James River, so they're going to be up into the James in no time.
Oh, that's not good.
No, that's not good. Smallmouth are great in that James, and they just keep moving and moving and moving. That's a bummer. But speaking of rivers, we'll move on to a river. This is our downstream launch boundary on the Dan River. So way down there, Dan River, I know has smallmouth in it. Don't really know about the largemouth population, but it goes right through our host city, by the way. After it leaves Danville, it goes right through South Boston. And, it's different. It gets a little murky and muddy, but they're in there. And I know that there's some good ones. So that could be a player. It's a big feeder of, Kerr. So any thoughts on the Dan? Do you guys know much about that one?
I don't.
Yeah, I know nothing about the Dan. I fished the Roanoke.
Okay. Then that makes that one quick and easy. You guys do your research. That's what it's all about. You guys got to figure this puzzle out. See all these eligible waters here and all these dots. If you go back to the website, by the way, which I'll do right now, you can see the lakes are listed right here and the rivers are listed here. And based on our format and our rules, just so everyone knows while we're talking here, again, people might be watching this who are going to enter the tournament. They, let's see real quick. Let me go back to that map. You can launch, launch and fish any of the tributaries to the Dan River, for example, or any of the rivers. So you can click on this and it says, Dan River. These are all the ones you just saw listed there called our core bodies of water. Ah, dang it. I just messed up the map. I got to bring it back real quick. But they're all called our core bodies of water. And what that means, think about it like a tree trunk, right? The tree trunk's the biggest part of the tree, but all the limbs are connected, right? It's just like all the tributaries are connected. So as long as it's free flowing, connected, and we still consider, this is another big point, we consider spillway type dams not a hard boundary. We consider that still free flowing. They're just running the river, right? So even if a tributary that goes into the Dan, let's just use the Dan as an example, as long as you are inside the boundary of the Dan, so you're allowed in our launch boundaries, you're allowed to go further back upstream. You know what I'm saying? You can go further upstream. So you can, as long as you are, I got to double check this in the rules. Jake, do you remember? I'm pretty sure because there's a dam right here. You can't go above a dam if you're outside of the launch boundary, so upstream or downstream, depending on if it's an upstream or downstream launch boundary, right? This one's a upstream launch boundary because it's flowing this way. But if you can launch here, you can go left or right, upstream or downstream. But once you're going away outside of the boundary, once you hit a spillway dam, either up a tributary or up on the Dan like this, that is when it's a hard boundary. Does that make sense? But if you're inside the boundary of the Dan River, so from that red dot all the way to there is no downstream launch boundary because it just goes into the lake. So there's no downstream. So as long as you're in that river between the lake, if you found some creek or there's a spillway dam, you can fish and launch and access above it, below it, doesn't matter. Fish at all. Does that make sense? So it's really not too hard to understand once you get it explained. And then all these dots here are just your tree trunks. And you get to go, including the lake. So the lake here, if there's any creeks, we don't want to put a pin on every single small creek. Does that make sense? We're not going to call all those little teeny places out that people, it's fun for you guys over the winter and right now when you got a few weeks until the event, just to do your Google Maps study and satellite imagery and just find this cool stuff. It's a big part of kayak fishing. But the cool part about this series is we do allow, the opposite style of fishing, right? So obviously creeks, a lot of folks just use a couple rods, 2-3 rods, small kayak, throw and go, whatever. And then on the lakes, obviously live scope is a big player. So you could use that. You can use motors. You can, obviously all the electronics and power poles you want. And the big kayaks you want, which we have parameters on the website on the rules, what our specs are for what we define a kayak in our rules. Go read the rules, you'll see it. And so big stuff can be allowed too. And that's the beauty of Kayak Adventure Series. It's a UFC fight. You know, if you want to use that as a analogy, jiu-jitsu versus boxer versus wrestler, you know, whatever, like taekwondo, it all just coming together in one kind of boundary here, one arena. And let's see is, you know, who can execute best with their skill set and their preference of style they want to fish, live scope. Or if they want to do that, fine. But you know what? It could just as easily be one with no motor, just a paddle and a tackle box in some river creek too, you know, float trip. So anyway, that explains that on our format. Any questions about that you guys might have?
Not I.
Yeah. Good. It's so awkward. I'm looking at my map the whole time. I don't really see you guys. I'm just kind of talking, explaining stuff. I'm like, is everyone bored right now, or am I just? But this is information they need to know. So, but and what's cool is a creek is to a big river what this lake right here is to big lake guys to Kerr. So we allow even small lakes like this, which of course, guess what, guys, as we all know, this is the kind of water that's great for kayaks. It don't get the pressure of the big bass boats. Awesome kayak water. So why, when we go to a community, would we not want to include these little lakes when they have them as a resource to kayak anglers? So it's just trying to grow the sport and expand it and give a new puzzle, a new game, and a new challenge for everyone to figure out. Because you can't pre-fish Bannister Lake, all the bugs, the Dan River. You can't fish all this stuff, right? And just like in a bass boat tournament, you can't fish every lake in the Kissimmee chain or the Harris chain or whatever. You know what I mean? Like Lake Guntersville, you can't cover the whole lake or even all the bugs, like we said. So on these single lake tournaments, we're just creating a new cool puzzle and game and challenge. And it will require you guys to be able to do a little online research, combine that with the style of angler you are. So if you're a river and creek guy, it's easy. You know, you're going to eliminate those lakes, right? If you're a lake guy, it's easy. You're going to eliminate the creeks and then start doing your research on, okay, am I going to do Bannister Lake or Briery Lake or, you know, bugs? I mean, it's just a cool new game and it's been a lot of fun. So this is Bannister River, which is also one of the rivers that's marked here. You can see. So it's a smaller river. It almost looks like a creek, but again, I don't know what's there. You just don't know what's there until you do your research and just go out there in person and figure the puzzle out and see if you can get to those, you know, mid 90s or whatever we think might take this one. But what do you guys think about that? Having some smaller lakes in wildlife management areas and some of our tournaments and places like that.
I love it. I've said to Eric and Hank several times, you know, we started out with little 10-foot kayaks.
Yeah.
That you could throw on top of your car, put in the bed of your truck, and you would walk down the side. You'd find a bridge and walk down the bank beside the bridge and throw a kayak in there and fish. And then all of a sudden now we've got, you know, 12 and a half, 13-foot kayaks with motors and all these electronics on them, and you have to launch them like a bass boat. You know, we've kind of lost. That's the thing I like about KAS is that you retain some of that original character of kayak fishing as opposed to, you know, now we're out there competing with the bass boats. So
yeah, exactly. I agree with that for sure.
That's a huge pain point for me. I think about it every tournament.
That's right. I mean,
I'm having to pull my kayak on a trailer, right, and wet launch it like you were talking about on that boat ramp earlier.
Yeah,
you showed a picture of a boat ramp before we went on air, and I can't launch at a primitive site anymore. And that's where a lot of the fish that I want to get to, at least that's where I think they are. Problem is, if I think they're someplace else. But
yeah, that's true. That is the essence of this series. I mean, it really is. Like, you know, I don't know if you don't like. I fished the Bassmaster Kayak Series, and I'm kind of, as you guys know, and have had a lot of success doing it. But I'm kind of an anomaly in terms of like no electronics and all that. In the same way that the bass boat world's getting overtaken by live scope, it's kind of going to happen with kayak eventually. It is a little harder to do on a kayak, but the bigger they get, they're mini boats. It's just going to get easier to hold yourself in position, use that technology. And I think the only way to combat it, honestly, really is just having a format like this that still allows, you know what I mean, these less pressured, let's say, in smaller waters and just to be in play. And to me, it just creates diversity. And that's great because in our video clips you guys saw on our highlight reel that we showed when we first started this live stream, I would love to pan from one clip of a guy in a creek going down some little rapids and catching smallmouth and then go to another guy in the middle of the lake like we showed Iko Vang's clip from Paris using live scope, and they each have an equal chance to win. You know what I mean? It's like the pass in football and the run in football. Both work well, and a good balance in a football game is really what you want, you know. But every once in a while you'll get a dominated game with a run game from a team that's really good at run. You know, every once in a while you get a heavy passing game, and that's okay too. But it's not like every single time it's the same thing, you know. Diversity.
Well, not to take time to highlight us or anything, but CCKF kind of went backwards this year, and we're doing lo-fi tournament format. So basically, we don't allow live scope, 360, active target. Cool. We still do allow the motors, but no forward facing. Last year, you know, all we heard was, I can't compete against the guys that are live scoping. I can't.
Yeah.
In the very first tournament we have this year with no live scope, the guys got 89 3/4 inches on a small lake. But it was a tough decision to make. But with Eric and his club, you know, we overlap on some of the lakes we fish. You know, I said, look, I'm just trying to give people an opportunity, an alternative. Yeah. We'll do it without electronics. CKA will do it with electronics. And then at the end of the season, let's kind of see what the results were. You know, is it that much of an advantage or not?
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I really like that a lot. And you guys work so well together in the two states, really, even all throughout North Carolina and Virginia. That's really cool that you guys communicate and work so well, which is why we're gonna have so much fun at this event. Because we try to stay out of any of the drama, you know, that happens to pro bass fishing. Let's see. Is someone in? Let's see. Jake's saying someone's in the green room. Oh, here we go. Someone's in the green room. Let's bring somebody else in here. Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, Drew?
Not too much. You want to?
Sorry, I'm late.
That's all right. You tell us a little bit about yourself and which club you're representing.
Yeah, I'm Cody. I'm I guess you could say the director of the Foothills group. We're on the western side of North Carolina. We fish the Catawba chain.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully we can come out your way and
these are the smallmouth guys coming to take charge.
Yeah, we hope so.
Good. That's what I want to hear.
I mean,
we don't get down that way much.
Allowed.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this kayak adventure series for sure. I've been in the green room listening to you guys, so I'm taking notes.
Good, man. Sorry, I've been staring at my map screen. I'm back.
I know you were.
Now.
It's all good.
I couldn't see you, but Jake's noticed you in there, so that's cool. So yeah, I guess it's going to be interesting to see. But I love the Catawba chain, by the way. All those, you know, I lived in Charlotte, so I love that area. It's been it was a lot of fun fishing those waters, and that's a whole other topic we can get into about system too, and what's happening over there with some of the stuff too with the Alabama bass and all that.
Yeah, you guys were bashing my spotted bass a little bit earlier.
Yeah, well,
I love
spotted bass out here. We wouldn't have nothing to catch.
Well, largemouth used to dominate that when they weren't there, and I'd much rather.
Right.
And I've caught 10. I had 107.5 inches on that tournament when I won back in. You know what I'm saying? Like it was an insane largemouth fishery. Would you rather, like the average size largemouth, and they would obviously I'd much rather catch like a 7, 8, 9, 10 pound largemouth than even like a 3.5, 4, 5 pound Alabama. But anyway. And then they don't hybridize, and because the future of our sport is literally done with that fish. I mean, it's done. Everything will be a mutt, every single thing, and then they'll either outcompete the largemouth, but they don't hybridize with them. But everything else they spawn with and hybridize, which means the pure genetics for smallmouth is over, Alabama bass is over. You know what I mean? Like a spotted bass is over, the shoal bass is over, the red eye bass. Everything is literally extinct. It's the biggest threat to our sport, live scope, and they can talk about all that all they want. I can't believe these organizations that are, you know, they're great and they do a good job, but they lead our sport, aren't focused more on educating anglers about that fish and the issues.
But Drew, you're missing the point. You know what is really easy to catch on live scope?
Yeah.
Alabama bass.
Yeah. So if we can start calling them Alabama bass, that would be the first step. So if you can just start changing your vernacular, because those are definitely Alabama's. Because
I don't think it's fair to the Kentucky
spotted
bass that they call it a spotted bass, an Alabama spotted, because Kentucky's, they don't have a chance. Everyone's like, oh, that's not a big spotted bass. When I catch like a 16-inch Kentucky, I'm like, dude, you have no idea. That's huge.
Yeah.
Like, they don't get big like that. It's like a completely different fish.
Yeah.
I told somebody the other day, I was like, he's like, oh, I caught one of those in California that was like 6 pounds. I was like, no, you didn't. You caught an Alabama bass that was moved over there in the 80s. Like, it's crazy to think that those are the fish that are in California from Alabama,
crazy
all the way out there.
And
there's some efforts in North Carolina. None of the lakes that we're fishing for this tournament, but Jordan, Gaston, and Norman, they are bringing and stocking 100% pure F1 bass into those lakes, trying to keep the genetics strong.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know, man. It stinks because you just can't get those other fish out of there, and they'll at least like help supplement with those. But it's a bad situation. I mean, I'd much rather smallmouth been dumped in there than they fight harder than, and they get bigger than on average, usually bigger than Alabama bass. They fight harder and they're better in that, I don't know, that kind of water in that river anyway, but it's all good, man. It quote unquote worked out in Hartwell. And I'm saying quotes because those lakes, like the Hartwells and your, all that system over there in the South Carolina chain, like Lake Lanier, they cleaned the bottoms of those lakes out when they built them. So there wasn't much there, and it's just all man-made brush piles they throw in there now. But either way, they don't let vegetation grow if there ever was any. So it's not because of, homeowners and stuff and recreational boaters. So it's never going to be ever a good largemouth fishery, and all that open deep water, Lake Lanier, Hartwell anyway, was wasted. Largemouth really didn't feed that good on that stuff. So it kind of, I'd say, quote unquote, worked out that those fish got dumped into those lakes, and it just happened to be the right fit, if that makes sense. But then because they keep getting moved from those places, that's where the nightmare's happening. But I do enjoy those fish in the places where they natively live and where they just happen to work, kind of quote, work out now. But I don't want them to get moved anymore.
Right.
But anyway, Cody, well, good to have you, man. Let's we're going over some of this water. If you have any questions, you pipe in, bud. And
all right.
Excited to see some of your guys show up too. So you guys can see here this is like weird. The Roanoke River and the Staunton River, it's the same thing, but it just changes names. And in the middle, it's called the Staunton above this lake, and then it turns back into the Roanoke. But we do have a launch boundary at Alta Vista on that one. So, but that river has got some cool features on it too, and it's a bigger. So this is kind of our bigger, river. It's got islands and some rocks and shoals. I can't go back in historical mode here. Here we go. My Google Earth here. I mean, Google Maps here, but you can see it's more like a shoaly fall line type, above the fall line type river. So, I mean, that's going to be interesting too. That river there is the main feeder into that Bugs as well. So that goes, and that's actually a good time to probably bring up at the confluence, the Staunton River. You see right there, it changes back to Roanoke. Staunton River and Kerr Reservoir there. This is our official lodging partner for the event, the Staunton River State Park. So you guys can go on the website and see that's our official lodging partner. They got cabins, they got campsites. It's going to be way more fun if we all book and stay there. So as many of you guys who can book and stay there, is very central to a lot of these waters. You'll notice pretty central, I would say. It's not too far from the town, South Boston, which is our like literal center of the radius. So just want to throw that out there. But Staunton River could be good. Don't know if anyone knows anything about that, but there's probably some tributaries. The lake that's interesting too, that's up in Virginia further, is Briery Creek and Lake, and I know some pretty big fish have been caught out of Briery too. If you do some research, you can kind of see that. So it's a smaller lake, but right just south of Farmville, where I think some folks from Yakutak are going to join us at this event as well. So that's kind of in their backyard. And before I have you guys comment on that, if you guys know anything about it, Sandy River Reservoir is not in bounds. I know it's a really good fishery, but to get to the main boat ramp here, it's like an hour and 5 minutes from our host city of South Boston. And we try to stay an hour or less whenever we can. We only go just outside of an hour if we really need to include, more water because there wasn't enough water within an hour. But when you got a 50,000 acre reservoir to begin with, plus all those other lakes and rivers, you don't need sandy. And of course, the South Boston, Virginia, and those folks would prefer we keep this tournament, a little tidy here. They probably would love it if it was 30-minute radius, but we want to get you guys a chance to spread out so you're not on top of each other and can find a spot of your own. So any comments on Staunton River or the Briary? You guys have any? Cody, you're new into the chat here, so let's see if you know anything about that or have heard anything.
I have no clue about any of that. I don't make it much past Virginia or Greensboro or Rock Hill, South Carolina. I'm all west of that, so
there's no need to go. You got so much great water right there. We need the Virginia guys, man. We're some Virginia guys on the show tonight.
All right. Gotta use a couple of those guys for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, it's good water. I know that. It's inbounds for a reason. It's good water, and could definitely be a player. So the challenge is going to be like, how do you start to just do your research and eliminate some of the water? I think that's about it, other than just bugs, which we kind of covered at the beginning a little bit. And it's just so giant and massive, and you can, if you're good at big lakes, I mean, and using your electronics and figuring it out, I mean, there's no doubt some big bags come out of bugs. I mean, what do you guys, think about this time of year on bugs? It's just after the spawn, they're going to be pretty shallow, aggressive. I would think you could even do it without electronics, but I mean, it's got some big ones in it. I know that. I don't know how it's fishing lately, but they're there.
Yeah, they're there for sure. Every time we have a tournament up there, it's always a lot of big ones that get away.
Yeah,
it's smart for somehow. So a lot of the big ones seem to get away, but in our events usually like 85 inches that wins it, but there's 105 that have people have lost. So
yeah, no doubt.
Well, I think there's a good chance that the spawn is still going with how cold the spring was. I mean, obviously don't live there, but
and Hank actually just commented in the chat that we do have a delayed spawn.
Yeah, I think so.
In this area, I've been on some lakes where I've caught some bloody tail fish this year, and I've been on some lakes where you could tell they have not been up on the bed yet. So just kind of a crazy weather pattern we're having, a little cooler than normal.
Yeah, you'll find fish on beds somewhere in there. Sometimes moving water fish wait a little bit longer as well. So
for sure. Like I think like river, at least around here, rivers are usually the full moon after the lakes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's actually gonna be an interesting player in this tournament, because sometimes they get into a weird funk when they're spawning. You know what I mean? Like they don't really bite. It's for before or after. Now, if you can find them on the beds, then sure, that but sometimes it's hard to find 5, which you're going to need and make it work. So that'll be interesting to see how that affects it, because could mean the lakes are going to be a little hotter, could be the rivers. It's good to have a skill set that could do both, and you just got to know when to do when. Just got like any pro out there has to know, when am I going to use? When can live scope be? Like if you're in Florida or somewhere that it can obviously go either way, live scope or not. Like when is it smart to use it? When is it not? You got to make that decision. When is it smart to go lake? When is it smart to go river? Or do you I'm a river guy and creek guy or lake guy and just say, I'm just going to always go with my strength. So it'll be interesting. But how about a couple other things to mention is there is a team division. If I go back to the website, the 2-man team division, if you don't want to enter the whole entire, thing, let me share the screen. You can always go and just enter the team division. So you can see right here we have our divisions. The Cast King individual angler division, $175. That's again, we're at a big national event. It's a little bit more, but you guys, obviously the local guys, you guys have the best chance to win. That water and kind of how it fishes better than anyone else that's coming from all around the country. So I would highly encourage you enter that division. We pay out 15%. So plus you get the $100 gift bag only in that division. So it's not, if you sign up for a $75 team division, which is $150 per team, which is $75 an angler, you don't get that gift bag. So that's one reason to hop in the individual angler division. We pay out all the way down to 15%. So a lot of people get more than most tournaments get paid out. And if you do enter the team division, it's just, you can enter them both. Obviously you don't have to enter just one or the other. And it's your 10 fish. It's 5 fish from one teammate and then 5 fish from the other. So it's not like that team kayak series where one person could catch all 10. So it is 5 and 5. And then right here, it tells you how to register a team if you want to, and how to, basically that means how to connect your team on Tourney X and whatnot. But there is also a Z-Man Micro Finesse Micro Bag division, which is $25. So again, you could just show up to this event and just enter that. It's your 5 smallest bass, winner take all, and the Holy Grail bag on that one is a 25-inch limit because our minimum is 5 inches, maximum is 9.75. So it's got to be under 10 inches to score in the micro bag division, but winner take all. So we've had events where the winner has walked away with, I think, nearly $500, and that's just for a $25 entry fee. So that's pretty cool. And the other thing on that to remember is you'll have to go to the rules. So if you guys click, I won't do it now, but if you guys go up to the rules, you'll see and you read micro bag, you only have one finger on the fish because when they're small, we don't want you to cover up the whole fish with your hand. And it's just it's an insurance policy, guys. So a lot of guys who enter the individual division, they don't have a good Friday, they don't have a good Saturday morning, they just pivot to the micro bag and they literally can save their tournament. So instead of just trunk slamming and leaving, because you just know you're out of it by the time late morning hits on Saturday, you got nothing really going. You could switch to the micro bag and at least you're getting bites in a tournament setting. So it's a whole new challenging game to catch those 5 smallest, but
it's hard, man.
It is.
Drew and I spent probably, man, it had to have been like 8 hours one day just trying to catch a 5-incher.
It's tough.
Ozarkana. Remember we went up that little bitty creek and we finally got one. And it was such a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's hard because you have to chase the spawn and think very strategically. I know it sounds crazy. We're talking small fish and you got to think strategy, but it's all about, can you figure out what time, like this event, for example, is what, May 2nd and 3rd. So you're only catching last year's spawning fish. You see what I'm saying? That's the only ones that'll matter because you can't
technically need to find those stunted fish that are like never going to be big fish. They're always going to be like 12-inch creek bass.
I would look for the coldest water flowing in that fishery, in all those waters, and I would find the one that's the least healthy. So they haven't grown to 12 inches yet or 10 inches yet. You know what I'm saying? Like you literally have to find a nursery, a little creek or something that's not as healthy, that's smaller, and you'll actually find 6 fat bass that were spawned last year late. They probably were spawned in like June, like late May or June, the last spawners, right? And then they've not even grown very big. Fish are,
what are you throwing? What are you throwing? The rooster tail?
Yeah, that's a good one, man. Rooster tail. I mean, obviously your Z-Man Micro Finesse, your Pradcos. We just talked. Your Rebel.
Yeah.
Like a Bobby Garland is what our resident micro bag expert throws. I think Glenda, who was our micro queen, she was using Z-Man. The little micro finesse nets.
Yeah, little teeny stuff. It's fun though. It really is fun, actually. So another thing to point out about why I say 9.75, it's got to be 5 to 9.75. 10 inches and up is the individual division fish, right? So, and the team division fish. So in other words, the limit, some tournaments have a 12-inch or 14-inch minimum. Our minimum is 10. So don't throw fish back when they're 10. You might need that as your 5th. Take a picture of it. It counts. Another weird, let's see. Well, we have, just before I forget the divisions, the high school division presented by Finman Fishing. Go check out Finman stuff. It's 50% off in the registration for the high school anglers, and they actually are in the individual division, but they get half off, and then we recognize them on stage separately with trophy and some prizes. So that's how that works. And there's other contingency stuff here and bonuses. You guys can click on this. Takes you to the page of the contingencies, the GoPro guarantee, which if you get 125 anglers, we're going to pay out $7,500 guaranteed. Naqua Power bonus, you guys, can, if you're using Naqua Power products, you'll get literally $1,000, 500 in product, 500 in cash from Naqua. And all you guys, Toyota bonus bucks, obviously. If you have a newer Toyota, that counts for that. Last tournament was won by Adam Coleman, and he got Toyota bonus bucks. Omnia Pro is the Omnia Pro app. If you have the Omnia Pro app here, you get your rewards and gift cards, and Adam Coleman won that as well from last event. New Canoe bonus. If you're a New Canoe owner, you can see what you get there for being the top New Canoe owner. And then of course, Cross Kicks shoes. If you're wearing a pair of Cross Kicks, we see them in your photos and you're the top one, you're going to get another pair that you can, you can share with your significant other or just keep for yourself or whatever.
And they've got a lot of designs now. Cross Kicks. So.
Oh yeah. GoPro Big Bass. You're going to win a new GoPro. Whoever gets a big bass, if someone hits 100 inches, which is possible for sure at this tournament.
Easy. Yeah.
Easy. We're going to get to that. Your predictions before we wrap this up here in just a few minutes. Someone could take home a Century belt, and that gets you another pair of cross kicks and, of course, the belt, which is cool. And then we are going to have Omnia tackle for trash bags. I think we have some Athco bank bags. Whoever picks up the most trash or most unique items or whatever, a couple of you guys are going to win some gift cards to Omnia. And that's pretty cool because it helps kind of promote good stewardship of our waterways. And then our raffle kayak. This is exciting, guys. The raffle kayak for this event, huge shout out to Feel Free. If you scroll up here, you'll see Feel Free Kayaks. They are the kayak sponsor for this event. Every event has a kayak sponsor, a separate manufacturer donates a kayak, but Feel Free made custom autism colored kayaks. But they're actually donating 2. One's going to be raffled off at our Broodstock finale.
That's going to be dope.
It's going to be cool.
Really cool.
That's awesome.
And that organization was founded actually in North Carolina, I believe. So I know Mr. Morse lives in Florida now, I think back there again, but so that raffle will, 5 for $20, 5 tickets for 20, 1 for 5 sort of thing. And we will hand that off to somebody. And I think a lot of the folks from Feel Free are coming. They got lots of pros coming. It's going to be a fun event. So we appreciate their support for a good cause. Here's another thing. If you don't make Friday, that's actually kind of a good thing for this next prize. Day 2 Dark Horse, presented by Dark Horse Tackle, is the angler who jumps the most places from day 1 to day 2. So if you got 0 because you couldn't make it, or you got skunked or whatever, you made a bad decision, that actually gives you the chance to, if you end up at 94 inches, boom, you just move from like last place all the way up to like whatever that ends up being, 4th place, 2nd place, 3rd, whatever. So that's a cool prize. You get one of their Dark Horse Tackle boxes, and that's pretty cool. And then we do recognize the Top Lady Angler as well. So, and there's the links to the Stanton River State Park, where we're going to have our which is our campground designated lodging partner, if you will. But I was going to show something else. Can't remember what it was. I was going to go somewhere. I was going to just lastly mention, if you go to the rules, you go up on the website to the rules, guys, you'll see some other cool, unique things like you can get out in portage and even wade fish as long as you stay tethered to your kayak with a 10-foot or less, tether. So you can portage over things, logs, limbs, natural things that have fallen down, whatever. Even the dams, like we said, portage up and down, or even launch above them if it's a spillway dam. That's just as long as it's inside and not outside of the launch boundary. And then another unique thing is you can troll and use 2 rods. So in this event, you can use 2 rods. If you got a follower fish, like a big fish that's following a small one that you have on or whatever, and you want to just hold that one rod and pitch your other rod in there and catch 2 at a time, you can do that in Kayak Adventure Series. And we want you to run that GoPro too while you're doing it so we can get that footage. But those are some of the unique things. But trolling, what do you guys think about trolling and the 2 rods at a time? I mean, how much do you think that could potentially play at this event? Or do you think someone might just while they're moving from 1 mile to the other spot, they might just toss it out, and you never know. I mean,
yeah. We used to have 2 rods in the CKA, which we went back to 1. So, but I know guys that used to do that. They always have a Senko or something hanging over the side while they're fishing, and
or if you get hung up, you can throw something without blowing up your spot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We allow trolling in CCKF, and I've caught several. Thought I was hooked. Thought, oh man, I've just got hooked on a submerged tree or something. It turned out to be a pretty decent fish, but it felt so much bigger because I'm going on an XI3, right, and moving along 4 miles an hour, and a fish hits it. It feels like a tank. So
yeah.
We had a guy actually cash a check who did some trolling.
Yeah,
up in
he did
Michigan
a little bit. Yeah, and that to us, we're just thinking like, well, wait a second. It's not like it's some huge advantage. Like, why would it not be allowed? It only highlights your paddle, your kayak, your motor, your battery. It only just gives you another way to catch more fish. If there's our rule set, our number 1 rule is how can we help the anglers have more fun, which is basically means catching more fish or catching bigger fish or making it easier on them to access the waters that are in bounds. And that's why all of our rules are based on, okay, you can launch from wherever. That's the other thing we didn't mention. You can launch from any public access point, wherever. So that's that's going to help you get to all the water and the fishing quicker, easier. You can portage over stuff. It's going to help some people get to certain areas that might catch more and bigger fish. Again, have more fun. It's all legal to do, right? On any given Saturday or Sunday. So why in the world would it not be legal in this tournament? I have no clue, but we want to make it where it is. And the 2 rods is one of those things where, dude, if it's legal to do on any given Saturday, Sunday, and you do it and it's fun, it's exciting to see on GoPro. That's literally what we're looking for, is this action and excitement. So that's why we allow that stuff. And like Jake said, this is another little side note that no one really thinks about. You're technically breaking the rule if a rod is dangling in the water and a lure's there, because I've had fish come up and jump and eat. I have it on video in a tournament. A fish hit a spinnerbait that was dangling, and I grabbed the rod and I picked it up. Another rod was in the water. And then I thought of it to myself, what would I have done? I guess technically I couldn't have scored that fish because I wasn't fishing with it, and it was the second rod. So it eliminates people from either intentionally or unintentionally breaking a rule. So you can't cheat that way in this tournament. There's no way you can cheat because it's legal, and it's legal according to the state laws too. And it's a cool, fun thing to try to do. So anyway, that's one reason. The other thing, like Jake said, if you're hung up, if you get hung up on a log and you've got a crankbait out there and you don't want to blow up your spot and go in there and get it and throw another lure in there, well, guess what? If you do that in a regular tournament that says 1 rod, technically, I mean, I know you're not fishing the other lure, but technically probably shouldn't be able to count that fish.
Right.
So that's kind of why we did it, because we don't want to have any issues with anyone say, oh, I saw his line was out, but he'd be like, oh, well, it was hung up. Like, well, anyway, so that's our thoughts on that stuff.
I wanted to throw out there that CK is also going to do a team challenge for CK members. So all our guys who sign up as a team, if they're CK, both CK members are going to give the top team. I believe we decided on a TOC spot for each member, plus a $50 gift card from Yak Attack. So nice. A little side fun challenge for the CK guys. Try to get them out there.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Any I don't know if you guys are watching the comments, but that's funny. Brian Slayton is control for some micros. Dwayne is saying that the micro bag is set up and now you have to have a minimum number of fish to get on the board, and then you cold down. So now the leaderboard, it sounds like it's going to all look properly how it should for, like, because now the smallest limit should be at the top, not bottom. So that's cool. Appreciate Dwayne and TourneyX and all that they do for us. And that's not, dude, that stuff's not easy. It takes a lot of time. It's not cheap. So the fact that he has made that adjustment for us is pretty impressive, and we appreciate him. So if your local clubs aren't using TourneyX, we highly recommend. Let's see. Also on the comments here, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's about it. I mean, maybe there's something further up that I haven't read them all. Jake, if you've seen any that we need to answer questions or whatever.
Slowly kind of like picking through them. I think we got most of the. Yeah.
Well, then let's just get to it. Let's just end right now because we want to keep this within an hour, and we're a little bit over that. So let's just end with, what do you guys think? A prediction on some links to win this thing.
I'm guessing it's going to be over 100 inches for this one. I know that some of these rivers have some big fish in it, and
are they going to be green or brown? That's the real question.
Green. I guess they're going to be green, but I could be wrong. I've seen a lot of green fish come out of these rivers too, so they're pretty good ones.
I was going to say like 103.5.
Dude, this is awesome, man. These are good. Yeah, Cody. I mean,
yeah, those lakes down there, 100 inches is, to win a tournament. That's pretty much happens every tournament.
Yeah, and now you get
I'm going to bring the wife. I'm going to bring the wife and see if she can take on the ladies stuff. And,
yeah, man.
And I'm going to go for the micro bag. So
there you go. She'll probably take it all.
That's funny. I'm excited about these links estimates for this one.
Yeah,
that's great. I mean, you got to think about it like this. I just think about it like when you get a bigger tournament, and let's hopefully say we're gonna have, I say bigger, I mean anything from like 75, 80 up to 150, whatever. You got to think the more people, the odds are that top winning number is going to be up a little bit higher, right? Someone's going to get, and then you throw in the extra 4 hours or 5. I can't remember even what we had, if it's 4 or 5. on the half day, which is a Friday also. So you got less pressure. Plus you got all these different lakes and rivers inbound. So you're not going to maybe be cannibalizing each other's fit. I mean, it kind of all starts to creep that number up a little higher in these. So I think we could definitely get over 100. I'd love to give away a couple century belts, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to say our first 2 events have both hit insane numbers in terms of
That's
the
true.
top.
The top end. Yeah, the
Great
top
time
end.
of year. I'm looking forward to it this time of year. I always do really well usually in April, May. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, perfect timing for this event. That's for sure.
Perfect. Yeah, we definitely
We had 107 in
107 in Florida,
103,
102 and 3/4. Yeah,
102.75. Yeah, in Texas. So
the numbers I was posting on the screen, you guys see everything's over 100. The guesses. So it sounds like that's going to be what you need, which means that if you're if you're down in the top 10 or whatever, you're still probably gonna have a really fun day because you're going to be in the 90s catching some big fish. So it'll be interesting to see, if this, you got all the different species in this one, the Alabamas, to the largemouth, smallmouth. I can see it going any direction, but one thing, smallmouth, no matter in the Susquehanna or where you're at, they kind of do top out at like this 2021. It's really hard to get something over 21 in a smallie. So if you're gonna go all brown,
5 of them.
You catch 5, then sure. But if you catch, that's where a mixed strategy could play. Because someone could say, I'm going to go one of the days, I'm going to focus on green ones. Try to get a 23, 24, because that's not easily, but it's very realistic in that part of the country to catch a giant 22, 23, 24 largemouth all day. Can happen. And then you've got this big buffer, and you could finish your limit with some smallies or something somewhere else. Who knows? We'll see. But shout out to Naquan Adventure Gear, your backdrop over there as well for Cody. Those guys are locally in that Lake Norman area, Charlotte. I appreciate the whole team over there at Naquan. They are definitely one of our favorite.
This will be a cool one because I'm flying to this one, so I'm just gonna be a fly on the wall the whole time. I won't have to drive there and just get to take it all in.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. The last thing I can think of is just mention and say, and I'll even share it because I think it's that important, because this is really what makes this thing special and go and make our first of all, say, please, guys, if you're listening to this, you do not want to miss coming to the opening ceremonies. And if you can make that breakfast the next day, the brunch, and then come back for the closing ceremonies. It's just Saturday. You can have a fun at the festival, maybe win a kayak, right? Contribute to a great nonprofit, the Autism Anglers, and then you could drive home Sunday. That's the beauty of this series, this trail. It's not all about the fishing and the money and all that. It's like the camaraderie, because you can't guarantee the big fish are going to bite or even stay on your line. One thing we can guarantee is a good time, and that's what we're there to have, is a good time and fellowship with one another and create friendships and bonds that since COVID we've done stuff more remotely and virtually, and we've kind of gone away a little bit from this kind of stuff. So you guys do a great job locally of making sure that continues, but it's pretty cool to have a national trail. We can kind of get together and focus on the fellowship and camaraderie and create some friendships and memories that last forever. So please show up to all that stuff. It is well worth it. We've got vendors, sponsors, Toyota truck demos, things like that go on. So it's a pretty good time. But the final thing I was going to actually talk about was the ability to send us your footage. So just film with the GoPro if you can, or any action cam. It doesn't have to be a GoPro, but obviously if you got a GoPro, use it. But send us the clips, and you go up to For Anglers and simply click on upload photo video. Takes you right here. All you do is literally answer 2 questions: your name, date, and then if you want, it's not even required. If you want to add a description about that fish catch, cool. Click add file, and then it sends it from your phone or your computer, wherever you are. Just trim it down to that cast to catch, right? Moment. That's all we need. It's literally usually like a minute or less. And then send it to us, and we'll get it up on that awards ceremony and eventually share it on our socials, which Jake's been doing a good job. If you haven't followed us on our social media, you'll notice we post a lot of the clips from you guys and get you guys some nice exposure, promotion for you, your sponsors, and that highlight reel obviously as well. And you can still send clips to us 2 weeks after the event, but a couple weeks after.
You've got old ones from Last year we'll take them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll take them at all time. But for the highlight reel, we want it, within a couple of weeks so we can get that highlight reel out from the event. But that is the big part of this, guys, is the filming. And it keeps it's actually the tiebreaker for big bass. So if two people caught a 22-inch largemouth or whatever, then whoever filmed it wins the GoPro. They win the big bass. It's not for your biggest prize. There's so many advantages to filming, not just the fact that your character will never be in question. People can see, you caught it. We can promote it and whatnot. So yeah, go over to that, click upload photo video. You guys can check out the website. You got, our AOY standings are here. The team of the year standings are here. Hit me up if you have any questions. Tournament director, my information's right there. And then the rules are somewhere right here. So you can click on rules and you can read all about that special stuff that we have going on and how we enforce stuff. It's all just dialed in there. So it's pretty cool. It's a little bit of a read, but once you do it once, it's pretty much a normal, kayak fishing tournament, but there are some unique things that if you read the rules, it might help you gain a little bit of an edge, knowing it. So plus not accidentally break a rule and get DQ'd. So
yeah, right.
Most importantly. So
absolutely.
All right. Let's see. Well, I appreciate you guys. Any last comments that you guys can think of? Anything we missed, Jake? What did we miss? Anything?
No, I think we got everything.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to that whole theater atmosphere. Ever since you announced this series, I've been looking forward to hitting one. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I appreciate it, guys. That's the future, man. Can you imagine, like with this format, with all these waters you can put in bounds within an hour, you can have 500 people. You could pay out 25 grand, like the first or whatever more. You can literally, and everyone can still find a place to fish on their own, even with a ton of people like that. And some of these, formats an hour away, those waters, and we all have a nice, comfortable place to sit, air conditioning, food, drinks. You get to watch these cool clips, which is the most fun, right? Just getting to watch the footage from all the anglers, whether it's a good thing and they catch a big fish or it's heartbreaking, they lose it. We still want it all. We wanted, if you guys see a deer swimming across the river and you film that, or something crazy wild, like Jake was showing, that truck or car went down like that's all great stuff, man. It's just a lot of fun to have a real true stage for you guys to stand on, designated like format and system every event, and then of course I try to keep it light and fun. If you guys come on stage, I know you got bright lights in your face and all that. If you're not used to it, it's a little bit whatever, but we keep it fun and light, and it's just a good time. So
we've got it really streamlined. So
yeah,
nice.
We're getting better every time. So appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great night. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it,
everybody. Yep. Y'all get signed up. Get signed up.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.
See ya.